All right. So, welcome. I'm so glad you guys joined me live today. My name is Angela Manderfeld. I'm a registered dietitian and diabetes educator. I've been a dietitian for the past 16 years, and I work mostly with frustrated and overwhelmed people who are just struggling with low energy and weight gain, and oftentimes with blood sugar issues. I help them to achieve the confidence and the clarity so that they can increase their energy and lose weight, obviously without feeling guilty or deprived. I'm so happy you signed up for my program, and we are going to have some fun. So let's go ahead and get started. I really do want to thank you for choosing me and choosing my program. I'm so honored to have you with me. People often get excited about the information that they hear, and I want you to tell anyone and everyone. I'm totally fine with that. The only thing that I ask is I am going to be providing you recordings. Please don't share those like on Facebook or whatever. I don't even know all the social media platforms. I just ask that you don't share them with others, but you can share your notes. You can tell them everything that you learned. Please educate others. That would be awesome. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to cover in our program, Shed the Pounds Without Going Hungry, Secrets to Increase Energy and Permanent Weight Loss Without Rigid Diets. We have a lot of topics to cover over the next 8 weeks. So we're going to spend, and this is just some of them, this isn't even everything that we're going to cover, but we are going to spend some time on gut health. I know that might not sound exciting, but it is super exciting. We'll talk about how to use your food as medicine. We'll talk a little bit about how sleep affects weight gain and weight loss. We'll definitely review stress management and some tips for that. We might even talk, we definitely will talk a little bit about herbs and some supplements for any specific issues that some of you may be having. We're going to cover some hot topics that you've been reading about: intermittent fasting, popular diets, what works, what doesn't. The idea behind that isn't to encourage you to start a diet, but to understand the reasoning behind certain diets, so that you can really make informed, educated decisions. We'll spend a lot of time on fitness and movement and how to get results with that. And you also learn about how much you have to exercise, because I bet it's not as much as you think. We will also spend a lot of time on mindfulness, self-awareness, and coping with emotions, how to manage emotions without using food. So each week, there's going to be an agenda, and there's going to be several sections that we go through. So we'll start off with the awareness section. We'll move on to how to make educated decisions. There'll be an emotions, a movement, then our challenge equals change sessions, and then we'll talk about how we're going to measure our results for the upcoming week. Emotions, I want to talk about that for a second. There's such a strong driver in what we eat that we really can't have a nutrition class without discussing them. So I really feel like that's an important piece, and that's really what I want you to kind of focus on throughout this class. And then the last piece, the measurement part, we can change what we measure, right? So I want you to think about how you will measure your progress over the next 8 weeks. I'll teach you how to set SMART goals. So you might set a goal and just kind of put your measurement in there. But then there's also metrics measurements. Some people like to use a scale. Some people don't. Some people want to measure their waist or their hips. And that's really a complete personal preference. Other people might want to just say, you know what, I just want to measure my energy level. Like if I feel like I need a cup of coffee by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or if I feel like I need a nap. Other people will also use their clothes. Like maybe they have a pair of jeans that have been a little snug, and so they'll try those on each week to see if they're making progress. So there's more than one way to measure your success. So that's something that we'll talk a little bit more about today and that you can start thinking about. So in this program, you have decided that it's time for change. And my goal is to help you get whatever you decide that you want. So throughout this class, the expectations that I have for you is, number one, I want you to be present. So I know that some of you are going to watch part of it and then you have to run off. I completely understand that. Life happens. I do that all the time on webinars. But when you go back to the recording, I really want you to set aside a time to be present, really focus on yourself, and take time to do each step that I outline each week so that you can really see the increased energy and the goals that you're working so hard to achieve. So the other homework, and I promise you this won't be the whole 8 weeks, but I'm going to ask you to do some photo food logging for me daily, because I'm not meeting with you necessarily on a weekly basis. We're not having a ton of one-on-one appointments. This is going to be how you're going to communicate with me. This is going to be how I see what you're doing. I'll be able to see what you're struggling with. You'll send me messages, and I will make sure that we cover the topics. I'll make sure that I touch base with you and help you with anything that I see that you're struggling with. But that's how we're going to connect, is through your food log. No judgments there. Just take the pictures and upload them. And if you need help with that, let me know. Okay, so my first question for you today is, what is your why? This is the awareness section of our class today. So in your document section, and you don't have to go there right now, but in your app, in your document section, there is a handout called, week 1, setting goals. So sometime today or tomorrow, maybe this evening, I want you to print that off, or at least pull it up, and I want you to make a little journal, and I want you to start writing out some of the answers to the questions in there. So when you ask, what is your why? Many will say, well, why am I doing this program? They'll say, well, I gained weight, I don't feel good, and I want to get back to where I was. That's my why. But in reality, most people's whys go a little bit deeper than that. And the way you get to that is if you just keep asking why. I know that seems annoying, but maybe they want to lose weight, they've gained weight, but maybe in reality, the increase in weight has meant a decrease in energy or confidence or self-esteem, maybe even a decrease in their health status. And maybe because you're low on energy, or maybe because you're not feeling confident, maybe you've been passed over for a job promotion, or you're withdrawing from relationships, or feeling frustrated when you're just getting dressed for the day because you don't like how your clothes fit. It could be a number of things. We need to keep asking why until we've really drilled down the reason that you decided that it's time to change. So I would just want you to take a moment here and kind of reflect on that. You don't have to sit here and ask why 25 times while we're talking on the webinar, but you might think, okay, well, I wanted to do this because, I got some labs from the doctor that were a little off, or I wanted to do this. But like I said, dig a little deeper. That's kind of a superficial, oh, I got some labs. Think about how those labs, or how that health status came about. What led you down that path? And I bet you anything, there's some sort of underlying emotions that went along with that. That's why I said we're going to definitely talk about emotions in each class. So when you do this worksheet, whatever you write here is just the beginning. So you might say, I joined this class to lose weight. That's just the beginning. Keep asking why. Like I said, you might have to ask it 25 times to get to the heart of it, but really drill this down and figure out, why are you here? Why do you want to make these changes? All right. So now this is where I tell you why you're here. This is where we talk about education. So helping you to make educated decisions so that you can go along with the goal. There is so much I want to share with you today, but I'm limited to our time. And it's an 8-week program, so I'm not going to tell you everything today, but I tried to pick some of the basic, easiest things to help get you started on the right foot. So probably the biggest question that I get is, what is healthy eating? What could that be? And in my opinion, and what I teach as a dietitian, is there are 3 basic principles of healthy eating: quality, quantity, and diversity. Notice I said nothing about calories or fat or carbohydrates or restriction or exercise. Healthy eating is quality, quantity, diversity. So quality is choosing foods around us that are close to nature. And notice I said choosing foods around us. So think about where you live, what food is available to you, what food grows, what food roams, what food swims. Those are the foods that are going to be the healthiest to you. So think Hunt, fish, grow, pick. If you can hunt or fish your food, those are going to be your healthy proteins. If you can grow or pick your food, those are going to be your healthy energy food, your healthy carbohydrates. So as close as you can get those things to where they're found in nature, the better. Now, this isn't me sitting here telling you I want you on a raw food diet. You pick it out of the ground and you eat it right out. That's not what I'm saying. I guess my point is, if, orange, you pick off a tree, you eat the orange rather than drinking orange juice, or you eat an actual potato instead of eating French fries. So we want to eat a food as close to its natural form. So that's quality. Quantity is not necessarily about, a half a cup of this, a cup of that. Quantity is about listening to your body. Are you eating when you're hungry? Because if you don't, if your body isn't the one that triggers you, that says, hey, I'm low on energy, I need to eat. If your body doesn't trigger you when to start eating, how do you know when to stop? Okay. I want you to have a fun life. I want you to have time to do things that you want. I don't want the rest of your life for you to be measuring food out at every single meal, counting your calories. That's really no way to live. There are way more things that you could be doing with your time that are way more fun. So if throughout this course, my goal is to teach you how to listen to your body, if you haven't been doing that, to guide you as far as when to eat and how much to eat. And then diversity. So diversity is a cool part where I'm going to challenge you to try different foods, maybe foods that you haven't really tried before. You're not sure if you like them, or you didn't like them when you were 5, and maybe haven't tried it since. But diversity is finding enjoyment in all types of foods. And the best part about this is it's totally up to you. This is an individualized piece. So there's some people that say, well, I'm vegetarian, so I'm not going to eat any meat. If you don't find enjoyment in eating meat, great. The vegetarian lifestyle is the lifestyle for you. If you feel run down, you don't like necessarily pasta or carbohydrates, and you feel better on what people say paleo or high protein diet, more power to you. If those foods are what you find enjoyment in, and those are the foods that give you energy, that's what I want you to eat. But there is no one perfect diet that's going to make you the healthiest. So think of it as there are a lot of paths to get to that optimal health. And it's up to you to decide what your body likes the best, not anyone else. You shouldn't have a book, Dr. Google, anybody on the internet telling you how to eat. This is a personal, individualized decision. And I will help you to figure that out throughout this course. All right. So we talked about quality. So we want to eat real food. So I'm just going to touch on this. And part of your homework, if you want to write it down, I want you to sometime today pick a random food out of your pantry, and you're going to do what I'm getting ready to do with the food label. So I want to show you just an example of a food label. When I look at the food label, I could care less about the nutrition facts. I don't care about the calories. I don't care about the fat. I don't care about the carbs. That's not what we're looking at. When I look at a food label, I'm going to the ingredients first. I want to know what has been put in the food that I'm getting ready to eat. And I want to be able to evaluate, is this close to nature? Is this what I want to be doing? So on this food, on this label that you see in front of you, hey, we start off pretty good. There is a whole grain. We think close to nature. So it says whole wheat flour, score. We're pretty good. So the second one, water. Hey, we're doing good here. But what's the third ingredient? High fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup, not close to nature. It's a concentrated sugar that has been shown to increase risk for fatty liver disease, diabetes, that kind of stuff. So that's not something that we would want in any of our staple foods in our pantry. So the first 5 ingredients on your list ideally should be what you would consider to, number 1, know actually what that word is, and number 2, to make sure that it's something that you want to be consuming on a regular basis. Now, if this was something you ate once a month or every couple weeks, probably life would go on. If you got a little high fructose corn syrup, it's not going to be the end of the world. But if this is something that you're eating day after day after day, you might want to search the quality of it. And this is hard, and this is an ongoing process. I screwed this up just 2 days ago. I was at the store getting ingredients for lasagna, and I wasn't thinking. I grabbed some cottage cheese, and I get home. And for whatever reason, I decided to look at the ingredients, and I was like, oh, I was so upset. There was a bunch of crap in there that I did not want to be in there. And oftentimes you get cottage cheese and it's just cottage cheese. There's not really much else in there. But I picked the wrong brand that day, and I got a bunch of junk that I didn't bargain for. So I'm telling you that because I'm a dietitian and I screw up myself on occasion. So try to look at those ingredients, and that's really what you want to focus the most on. One of your assignments this week, if you choose to accept it, would be go ahead and take some pictures of some foods in your pantry that you want to engage in a conversation with me about. Upload them into your app in the little chat section, and I'll look at it and I'll tell you what I see, and you can tell me what you see, and I'll help you through this process a little bit. So I'd be happy to review those with you so that you can get a better understanding of what's in your pantry. All right. So the next question I always get is, Angela, what's for breakfast? What do you eat for breakfast? So I'm going to give you some examples of some really high quality breakfasts. So when I think about creating a meal, there's another 3 components of that meal. I want to make sure there's high fiber in that meal. Why am I picking fiber? Because fiber is going to fill you up. Fiber is going to keep your blood sugar stable. Whether you have diabetes or not, it doesn't matter. Fiber keeps your blood sugar stable, and it slows down. It's a slower absorption into the bloodstream. Your body has time to process that energy a little bit better. So carbohydrates are very important, and they need to be high fiber. So in these pictures here, like the first picture you see oatmeal, that's a high fiber carbohydrate. It's got apples in it, high fiber carbohydrate. And then the other piece is proteins and or fats. And this particular breakfast has walnuts in it, protein and fat. That's what's going to fill you up. That's what's going to keep you satisfied. So if you grab a banana as you're running out the door and you're calling that breakfast, well, you got the carbohydrate with the fiber right, but we're missing some sort of protein and fat. So I would challenge you to grab a hard-boiled egg or smear some peanut butter on that banana as you're running out the door. When we get to the mindfulness section, I might ask you to sit down and not run out the door with your banana, but we're not there yet. All right. So other options for breakfast. Maybe you're like, oh, I don't like carbohydrates. I'm against carbs. So maybe you're more of a high protein person. So you could do an egg scramble with vegetables in it. So asparagus, tomatoes, mushrooms, spinach, whatever you want. Please eat the whole egg. Don't take the yolk out. That's where all the vitamins and nutrients are. Over the past 20 years, the yolk's gotten a bad name because of the cholesterol, but the cholesterol in the egg yolk is not what makes your blood cholesterol go up. It's dietary, it's other processed fattier foods in our diet that can cause that issue. So please, if you're going to eat eggs, eat the whole thing and eat the vegetables that go with them. Maybe you don't have any food rules or food restrictions. You like all types of foods. Maybe you do like a piece of whole grain toast. One of my favorite brands of bread is the Dave's Killer bread. Most people find that acceptable, healthy bread. So you could do that with some avocado and eggs. That's a great balance. The bread has fiber, the eggs are protein, the avocado is healthy fat. So that's the good balance. And I'll give you one more kind of vegetarian option if you do dairy. You could do yogurt. So you might do like a non-sweet yogurt. I want your yogurt to have some fat in it. That's an okay thing, but unsweet or non-sweetened yogurt with fruit to sweeten it. Bananas are usually the sweetest. You could stick bananas in there and then add some sort of fruit and nuts and whatever else you want. But that would be your form of fat and fiber from the nuts and the fruit. Okay, so you've got some breakfast ideas. Moving on. So this is why we're doing this part. This is Angela's why. So you have your why you want to make the change. But when you choose high fiber food, this is what you're getting. You're getting weight loss. You're getting more even blood sugar, which remember, when your blood sugar stays stable, this is when you have more energy. You have less constipation. So when bowels are running more smoothly, you're just happier. And then we have improved gut bacteria. I am just skimming the surface today of gut bacteria. It's my favorite topic to talk about. We'll probably talk about more next week and the week after. But the bacteria that lives in your gut pretty much runs the show, not anything else. So if you're not taking care of your gut bacteria, this is when you see different diseases start popping up. So my sole purpose of working with you is to help restore that gut bacteria. It's super important for preventing disease and staying on that path to optimal health. So when you choose high fiber, those are the things that you get. When you choose foods that have probiotics like yogurt or kimchi or sauerkraut or kefir or kombucha, that's a drink. Again, that gut bacteria improves. We see less depression, less anxiety, and lower risk of disease. This is you understanding food as medicine. Because a lot of times we just take medicine to fix these problems, when really, when we change our diet and we get our gut bacteria right, everything levels out. Everything goes back to where it originally was when we were, way younger. And we don't have the depression that we used to have, or that we developed, and we don't have the anxiety that we began to develop. And we don't have the disease, or as extreme of a disease, whether it's diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, anything. All right. So fruits and vegetables. What do these things have in common? Number one, they increase your energy, they improve your mood, and they prevent disease. So again, this is your food as medicine piece. There's a very, very, very compelling reason to start including more fruits and vegetables in your day, because I guarantee within 1 week, if you start doing this, you will definitely see a change. So let's talk about quantity, and let's talk about how to actually do this. So this is what your plate might look like. So half of your plate would be devoted to the non-starchy vegetables. So for each person, so if you have children, this is kind of the rule of thumb I go by, is their 2 handfuls put together would be their serving size. As adults, our 2 handfuls put together are our serving size. Our hands are relative to our body. So the non-starchy vegetables are things like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, carrots, kale, cabbage, all those non-starchy, super colorful vegetables. The starchy vegetables would go with our grain foods. So that would be 1/4 of our plate, about the size of our fist. So that would be starchy vegetables or potatoes, peas, and corn. Other carbohydrate foods would be things like beans or rice or pasta or bread. Those are our carbohydrate foods. So those should take up about 1/4 of the plate. And then palm of your hand, thickness of your pinky, that's your protein. If your protein is thicker than that, so sometimes a piece of chicken or pork or whatever is a little thicker, you got to keep your portion a little bit smaller then, because we don't really need much. And if we can get our food in that quantity, that will help us, number one, increase our fiber content and help us get that balance and that good, stable blood sugar for improved energy. Okay, deep breath. How you doing so far? So we've talked about eating real food. Awesome. We've talked about quality. We've talked about quantity. And also what you see on the plate here is diversity. We're eating a lot of different foods. We're not just eating potatoes and meat or spaghetti. We're trying to spice it up. We're trying to add those vegetables in there and really make our meals a little bit more diverse. But notice every meal has those components of high fiber carbohydrates, proteins, and healthy fats. Okay, so this I tried to make the most boring slide possible because I want your snacks to be as boring as possible. And the reason I want your snacks to be boring, because I don't even want you eating them unless you're hungry. A lot of people are just like, oh, I gotta have a snack. You think about snacks. When's the next time I'm gonna eat? What's my snack? No, you eat your meal And ideally, it gets you to the next meal. If it doesn't, if your body gives you physical signs of hunger before you get to your next meal, a snack is okay. But a snack is not just, 3:00, time for a snack. We're not going by the clock anymore with our eating. I really want you to acknowledge what your body is asking for. So if you are going to snack, it should be, again, something close to nature: nuts, fruit, yogurt, cheese, some sort of veggies and dip, or if you're looking for something sweet, maybe dark chocolate. I would also challenge you is, maybe you want to try to do some sort of like flavored tea in the afternoon, like a raspberry tea or a cranberry orange tea, something that's kind of uplifting, that has a little bit of flavor, but that's more hydrating than it is you eating something. And to see if you're actually still hungry or if you really just wanted something sweet or something to drink. So snacks are not necessarily recommended for day-to-day life. If you're doing some sort of training or something extra, we could talk about snacks as fuel. But for now, just to get through life on a day-to-day basis, focus on your meals. Snacks are only if absolutely necessary. All right. We are on to our emotions section. So you've heard me make mention of emotions so far, and we've talked a little bit about mindfulness. So I want you to think about your thoughts and your feelings that you have about yourself on a daily basis. So then this might be comfortable or uncomfortable for you, but kind of think about your day. Maybe you've had a rough day at home with the kids, or you've had a rough day at work, or you've just been stressed out. Maybe you got bad news about something, and now you're feeling really frustrated, angry, sad. You fill in the blank. Oftentimes we'll seek out food in this, and there is a physiological reason for it. The receptors in our brain that can give us those endorphins to calm and ease stress are often comforted by sugar or salt or fat. So oftentimes when we get stressed out and we eat sugar, we might actually physically feel better, like our brain might feel better for a moment, but then shortly after we feel worse. So typically, when we're in that situation, we're not like, I really need a carrot right now. Or I could really use a kale salad. That's not what we're going for. It's, I really want something salty, or I really want something sweet. And we're trying to find something to kind of give our brain that comfort that it's looking for. So when we're eating those brownies, cookies, candies, whatever, fill in the blank, as we start thinking about the problem, we notice, okay, we're eating these things, but it's the problem that we have isn't really getting solved. So we notice that when we're done, not only is the problem not solved, we're still angry or frustrated or whatever, but now we feel a little bit guilty, or we feel just not good, run down, because we've eaten, again, whatever it is that we've chosen at that point. So as far as the food philosophy that I would like to present to you today is, forget it. Screw those diets and rules that you hear people throwing at you every single day. Forget it. I want you to eat like a baby. And when I say that, well, let me rewind for a second. I mean, really, we don't tell babies when they have too much. When you're giving a baby a bottle, you're not like, oh, you've drank your 4 ounces, you've had too much, and we take it away from them. If they still want more, we give them more. And then they give you a cue when they're done. They're turning their face away, they become interested, or they start crying or yelling at you. So they're done. So babies are masters of mindfulness. And the other thing that we do with babies is we give them the highest quality possible. We're trying to get the organic stuff. We're trying to make food from scratch. We're trying to make sure they have breast milk or the best formula possible. We're doing whatever we can to care for them. You deserve that too as an adult. You deserve the best. You are an amazing human being, and we need to really take that into account. So we really want to make sure that you're getting the quality too. So when I say eat like a baby, I don't mean like dump your spaghetti and rub it all over your face and have a good old time. What I mean is the physical signals. I want you to eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. And that's easier said than done. Because some of us just eat because it's morning and it's breakfast, and if we don't eat now, it's probably not going to happen, so we just eat. But maybe for a couple days, don't do that. Wake up and wait till you get a physical sign of hunger. And pay attention to how long did that take and how did I feel when that happened. When you do sit down to eat, really focus on the food instead of doing other things. Again, I know that can be a challenge with our lives the way that they are. There's so many things going on. But if you start eating, and I mentioned this before, if you start eating when you're not hungry, you have no signal for when to stop. So it's good to get that signal for when to start so that you can pay attention to your stomach when it's starting to feel satisfied so that you know when to stop. The goal with eating is to feel better when you finish than you did when you started. So think about that. I'm going to give you a couple scenarios. So you just want to kind of start thinking about, what am I doing? Am I reacting to a situation or am I responding? And what I would like you to be doing is responding to a situation. But for instance, think about if you sit down in the couch in the evening and you're going to watch TV, you might grab a snack. Maybe you grab some chips or maybe grab some popcorn and you just start eating while you're watching TV. It's just what you do. You're reenacting what you have done on a regular basis. Or you go into the movie theater and you smell the popcorn, right? And you're like, oh yeah, it's time for popcorn. And you get it and you eat it mindlessly throughout the whole movie, and you're reaching in the bag and the popcorn's totally gone. So again, you're reenacting rather than responding. So when we think respond, I want you to have the ability to respond appropriately. Responsibility with eating rather than reacting. And oftentimes, we're taking an action just because it's what we've always done. Like the popcorn in the movie or the snacking while watching TV in the evening. So I want you to think about what mindless food activities you might have. And instead of continuing to react to a trigger, I want you to stop and respond. So it's not bad to go to the movie and eat popcorn. It's fine. But if you just came from dinner, you're full, and even though the popcorn smells good, you don't necessarily desire it, but you're just doing it, going through the motions. I want you to stop and think about that. So sometimes you might choose to have popcorn and sometimes you might choose not to. Either is fine, but just respond rather than react. So think about things that you do throughout your day where you're reacting rather than responding. All right, we're almost there. This is our movement section. So the reason I call it movement is because a lot of times people put a negative connotation with exercise. And this should be fun, not torture. So I want you to kind of think about, what kind of movement do you enjoy? Maybe you're somebody who enjoys productive movement where, you know what, I want to be busy around the house. I want to be doing yard work or shoveling snow or going up and down the stairs, put laundry away. I mean, if you're a crazy person that thinks that kind of stuff's fun, great, more power to you. Go for it. I'm not. I'd rather get out and do something. You know me, I love Zumba. That's something that makes me happy. I smile the whole time I'm doing it. I can't wait for the next class. That's what exercise should be like. It should be something that you want to do and that you enjoy, not something that you have to do. So think about whether you want to do some sort of movement that's productive and purposeful, or maybe something that's functional. Maybe you've noticed, gosh, I can't ever get the pickle jar opened. I might need to lift some weights. I want to be a little beefier in the biceps. So maybe you start lifting some light weights because you have a method to your madness. You want to get stronger so you don't always have to find someone else to open the pickle jar. So it's whatever motivates you, but move. and however you want to do it. And here's the best part. Look at all of these benefits in front of you. It helps your brain and your memory. You're actually more productive in your day. Did you know women that do movement right after they learn something, they retain it better? So the best that you can do is when we're done here, move around, and you'll remember this better. Obviously, the lab stuff, it always helps with blood sugar and cholesterol. We know that. I want to stop on the weight maintenance part for a second. Weight maintenance. It doesn't say weight loss. Exercise can, people can see a little bit of weight loss with exercise, but exercise is not where it's at when it comes to losing weight. You can lose weight without exercise. We exercise because it does all of these other great things for our body, and it does help keep the weight off that we've already lost. But food makes the biggest difference when it comes to weight loss, not exercise. All right. Are you ready for your challenge? We're moving right along. You're almost to the end. Here's your challenge for this week. For this week, I want you to avoid any drinks that taste sweet, have artificial sweeteners, no alcohol, beer, wine, liquor, nothing, no soda, no juice of any kind, nothing. If you're a coffee drinker, you can use milk in your coffee daily. The limit is 4 ounces of milk. If you like to drink sweet drink smoothies, you can make your own, but it has to be with water, fruit, and vegetables. That's it. No juice in it, no honey in it, nothing else like that. So that's what I want you to focus on for this week. So no drinks that taste sweet or have artificial sweeteners. If you don't know what artificial sweeteners, if your drink says light or diet, that's considered artificial sweetener. So you're like, fine, I don't like you anymore. What should I drink then? Okay. So it's just 1 week. It's not a rule. It's not like you have to do this the rest of your life. I am raising your awareness this week about the fluids that you're consuming. That's all. So things that you should drink: water or infused water, meaning you can take some frozen fruit, stick it in your water, drink that. Flavored or herbal tea that's unsweet. So like I mentioned, raspberry tea, cranberry tea. I mean, go to the grocery store. The tea section has a number, like Tahitian vanilla tea. I mean, whatever you want, you got. And it has a flavor to it. It's just not sweet. If you want to do something that's slightly sweet, you can do kombucha because it does promote good gut health, but no more than 6 to 8 ounces of that a day. Water kefir is another option. And then if you really need something super, super sweet, like you're going to die if you don't, you can drink Bai, B-A-I. It does not use artificial sweetener. It uses stevia leaf extract and monk fruit to sweeten it. If you don't like stevia, then you're not going to like Bai. And then there's a soda type drink called Zevia, and it does not have any artificial sweeteners. It doesn't have anything in it except for the stevia leaf extract. And I don't want you to do more than like 8 to 12 ounces of that just a few times a week. I want you to be mindful about your selecting those things. And the plus side to this is when you choose to stay hydrated, you get, again, less constipation, you get improved blood sugar and energy, and you get less dizziness and lightheaded. And for those of you that live in Alaska, you just don't get that crazy dry skin, chapped lips, all that other stuff that goes along with the dry environment. So you may be thinking, like, who cares about blood sugar, Angela? You keep talking about blood sugar. Well, because I care about it. If you're drinking sugary drinks or the food that you're eating is processed and it's not keeping your blood sugar stable, it drags your energy down. And much of us having that great energy that we need has to do with blood sugar regulation. So that's why I keep talking about that. Finally, we're on our last piece, and this is our measure section. So my question to you is, how are you going to track your progress? You're going to, like I said, for some, a scale brings tears to people's eyes. For others, they're like, it is what it is. I don't care. It's just a number. You have to decide for yourself. Maybe you have a pair of jeans like we talked about that you want to try on every week or 2. Maybe you want to rate your energy on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 each week. You decide how you're going to measure. You're going to be required to set, I think, 3 SMART goals on your worksheet. So what SMART means is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. You need to write those things down, or you need to snap a picture of this slide. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. If you don't want to snap a picture and you don't want to write it down, you have me as a resource. You can send me a message in the app and say, Angela, what does SMART mean again? And I'll tell you. So I'm going to give you an example, and I did this one to be kind of a hard SMART goal. So an easy SMART goal is exercise. Like, okay, I want to exercise because I'm not doing it. So specifically, I want to walk for my exercise. I want to do it. I haven't been exercising for 5 years. So I want to start with about 15 minutes of walking on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's measurable. Is this attainable? Yeah, I haven't been walking for 5 years. So doing a little bit of exercise three times a week, 15 minutes, that's okay. It is realistic. I do have time 3 times a week to do this. And I'm going to do this for 1 week and see how I like it and reevaluate. So that's an example of an exercise SMART goal. Here's one that's a little harder. I often say to people, okay, what do you want your goal to be? They say, I want to lose weight. Okay, that's great, but we need to talk about what it takes to get there. So maybe they say, okay, I've noticed I've been snacking a lot in the evening, and it's something that I've kind of wanted to stop doing because I'm not really hungry. And I heard you say, you know, watching TV and snacking might not be the best thing in the world. So I think that's what I want to work on. So being very specific, this person says, I will knit or drink herbal tea instead of watching TV in the evening. Measurable, I'm going to do this every night of the week. And I would usually pause and say, 7 days a week, you're not giving yourself any wiggle room. I say, is this attainable? And they say, yes, I'm not even hungry. I do it out of habit. And when I don't watch TV, I don't normally have a snack. So I know I can do this. Is this really realistic? Like, is your husband sitting next to you eating popcorn and you're like, no, I'm not going to do it? And it's a realistic goal to this person because they say the rest of their family doesn't snack while watching TV. It's just me. And then timely. She's going to do this for 1 week and then she's going to see how she feels. So that's what a SMART goal looks like. So instead of just saying, I'm going to eat more vegetables or I'm going to lose weight, you have to quantify that. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday at dinner, I'm going to make sure I eat at least 2 different vegetables. That would be more of a SMART goal. So you want to get very, very specific on those things. If you need help with your SMART goals, send me a message. I'm happy to help you. Bottom line is you get what you decide. You have to want to make the change. And I know you do because you're here. Stop shooting yourself. Stop saying, you know, I should have done this or I should have done that. If something is important to you, make time to do it now. Don't say there isn't time. There's never going to be time. You're going to have to make it. That's what it takes. When you get frustrated, reconnect with that why, because that's what's going to get you to that happily ever after part. Choose to be happy. We can't control pain, but we can definitely control any suffering in our lives. So choose to be happy. Okay? All right, you guys, you can do it. So if you have questions, you have unlimited messages that you can send me. I cannot wait to see you next Tuesday. And remember, if there's anything that you want to ask questions about, don't hesitate to send me messages throughout the week. So here's your homework. Number 1, you're going to do your photo food logging each day in the app. This is going to help me connect with you and help me help you. Each week, so maybe next Monday, you're going to complete your weekly check-in form. That's in your documents section of your app. Today, I would like you to do this today. I would like you to fill out your week 1 goal sheet. That's where you're going to set some of those SMART goals and really drill down that why. You're going to take the next hour or 2 to prepare mentally for this drink challenge that I've presented to you. And you're going to do it, and you're going to be successful, and you're going to be fine. And then next week, we'll do it again, 11 o'clock. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I want you to have a great rest of your day. Take care.